Good evening and welcome to round 6 of the GT3 Masters. My name is Rigel, and joining me is one of our newest members.
Yeah, good evening everyone, Tiger here. As Rigel said, new to RWB and looking forward to this evening's race.
Right now we're looking at SRO CSAP, one of the faster runners of the one of the only guys running the Bentley. Although he does do very well with it, even though it does drive a bit like a.
Yeah, Lausitz is Europe's only oval speedway, like Rigel, and built on an old coal mine.
Yeah, although you wouldn't know it. There's no holes in the track.
Yeah, quite. 4.5k, various different circuits, and the race this evening is on the GP circuit.
Yeah, I think with this one, a lot of the keys in the first, it's quite hard to spot. It's quite hard to get the braking right. Other than that, there's a couple of Mickey Mouse corners, some switchbacks.
And there's old RWB Madeley in what is that?
That's a Corvette. I think it's the C7.
Of course it is. I'm not very good with the old American cars, but yeah, the C7 Corvette.
So is Madley the guy who's responsible for dragging you into RW?
He is, yeah. Yeah, it's all his fault. Yeah, I extend a virtual handshake to him. It's good to race with him again. He's a very talented racer.
So what game did you meet?
Yeah, we met in dare I say it, Project Cars 2. And yeah, we were racing with a small race group together. And we had some great times there, and some great characters. A little bit of internal politics, but I suppose you get that wherever you go. But,
yeah,
yeah, it was time to move on and branch out, and I branched out with a few sort of local guys that were of the same sort of background as me, and we endorse an ethic of racing clean, racing fair, and then racing for position in that order. And of course, that's really where RWB is with their main ethic, and of course that's very attractive to those sim racers who really want a realistic race as possible.
Yeah, it's something we stand by very strongly. Some of our, well, some of not, I wouldn't say rules, but some of our ideas about how to race are not the usual for some racing groups, but the ethic of having fun, camaraderie, are all at the forefront. So I think you'll find yourself very much at home here.
Yeah, it's great, and I have to say the banter and the general friendliness amongst RWB members is very attractive, and yeah, I take my hat off to everyone. There's no holds barred. People can get on or get out. So we're looking at Rodders there. Is that the M6 or is that the Alpine?
Yeah. That's the BMW M6. I don't think anybody's chosen the Alpine in this one. I think during my own testing I found it to be a little more tail happy than this one. This one's quite stable.
Yeah. Over 530 horsepower. Capable hands with Rodders there is one of the group's really quick race.
Yeah, he should be right up there tonight. Not seeing. Oh, there we are. Brandon Dove in 10th. He'll be a strong contender.
Yeah, that's really good actually, Rigel. Can we go through the runners so far as they're going through qualifying? Let's if we start off with C Samick, and if we can go go through them and have a quick one-liner for each one of your evaluation.
Yeah, sure. See Sam, I'd say driving the Bentley and doing very well. It is a quick car. Oh, and there's, just as we speak, Brandon Dove, who's in the Corvette. I think he's probably championship leader at the moment. Definitely one of the quicker drivers. He's good friends with Hayden McLaren down in 5th. He's usually clinging on to Brandon's coattail. Rodders is our, well, I should say club leader. I don't want to inflate his ego too. But he is always up there. He's usually having a tight battle with him. I was challenging him last week, but just couldn't find a way past. One of our great improvers, Mr. Pinpoint.
Yeah, real character, Pinpoint.
Yes, you can certainly say that about him. Yeah, he's driving the Mercedes AMG. Obviously, we talked about Madley already. He was also in the Corvette. Mr. B, not as much of a clown as what you might have. If I remember rightly, he's driving the Porsche. It's either a Porsche or a BMW Z3. If the director's kind enough to switch over to him at some point, we will verify that. Next in 9th at the moment we have Banksy. Both he and Evil, who doesn't seem to be present this evening, driving the Nissan GTR, which is
Godzilla.
Yeah, it is quite a handful. It certainly can be quick, but it does take a lot of attention.
And good in his hands.
Yeah, he's coping pretty well with it. He needs to keep his head down, keep his concentration up. But it's certainly capable of giving a few people a run for them. Next we have FX, a resident, what I should say, tech and media guru, responsible for setting up the streams. And oh, we have a spin by Jake. I think he's probably just trying to try a bit too hard out of the exit of the hairpin.
Now is Jake our resident alien?
Yeah, I suppose
he's
it's
an
fair
alien.
to say
I mean,
that.
some people have said that they've seen tentacles underneath his hat. I'm not sure whether that's true or.
Probably, I think it's just the Yorkshire thing. He's always in a hurry to go to
a field with sheep.
I'll let you duke it out with him after the race.
He's a very talented racer, as a lot of the racers are in RWB, and it's super impressive when someone like myself comes in from a different group who thinks he's mediocrely fast and then has one race and is 5 seconds behind the last man. So I'm really looking forward to getting quicker and learning from the talented people such as Speed and well, all the members really. Moving on, who we've got next?
And next after that we got Audi. Mr. Do you know what? I must confess I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Stjern. I believe he's
yes. Is it Mr. Audi that puts on our Thursday evening mini?
Yeah, that's correct. Our resident Norwegian.
Fantastic night, Thursday night with the mini league there. 5 tracks, 1 car. I didn't have any of the tracks or the car. Cost me a fortune.
Alright, but it is one of the most popular nights of the week. Some of the closest and most fun racing. You can always guarantee on Audi to pick an interesting mix.
Yeah, he's certainly done that, and that's open, right? Is that open, or is that just for
Yeah.
RWB members?
No, anybody can join that. It is largely designed as a bit of an introductory night.
Yeah, well, I strongly recommend it to anyone who's considering looking at RWB as a potential home. Come along to the Thursday nights, try your hand with the mini league, and get to know the RWB members, and see whether they're a fit for you and you're a fit for them. And providing you're not a last-minute dive bomber and you race clean, fair, and for position, then, well, you could be offered a place.
Indeed. Running through the rest of them, John D. I think he's in the M6. I don't know if I've seen him so far. H-Tune, I must confess, I don't know a lot about.
Looking at H2 now, right? He's in the M6 too, I believe.
No, that's the, I think it's
Z4.
Z3 or Z4. I can never tell the difference between the two.
Yeah.
And then we have Marco, who's a long-standing member. Might be in the port. Doing all this from memory, in case you can't tell.
You're doing very well. Yeah.
Flak 9 might be, I think, again, might be in a port. Porsches, unfortunately, this season have either been nerfed or the tracks just don't suit them. They're very strong in the last league, but they're just suffering in this one, unfortunately. Perhaps need a little bit of attention. Yeah.
The GT3 Porsche, right?
Yeah. Finally, we have Gabsy. Again, I can't remember which car he's driving. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another Porsche. And it wouldn't be complete without a mention for our very own rolling roadblock, Mr. Cos.
You'll be fighting that out with him later on.
Oh, I'll quite look forward to that. And I see just joining us a bit early for him, perhaps, as Chang. Certainly got a reputation for being Mr. Late. There's an answer to one of our questions. Flak 9, one of the few Audis.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm a big Audi fan, and yeah, I think wherever I could, I'd race the R8.
Well, again, last league the Audis there was a lot of, and they were very quick. But I think we've had a patch in between then and now. Pretty sure the Audi got nerfed with top speed, I think it was, although it was never that quick in the first place.
Yeah, you're right. There was a balance of performance patch that came out, and they did nerf the R8. Interesting what you said earlier on about the Porsche, and actually probably expecting maybe a bit of a bump for the Porsche.
Yes, yeah. As is often the way with these things, they try to balance things, but they end up making one or a few cars a little left out.
Yeah, well, the Porsche is one of the lightest ones, only 1,200 kilos. So I think what they've done is they've done a balance of performance, weight, sort of ballast in the coding, but I don't think they've got it quite right because it's nowhere near as quick as it should.
Perhaps they didn't think of the balance of the car if they did add ballast, because any weight in the wrong place in a Porsche is going to make it its driving characteristics a little awkward, shall we say.
Yeah, and are you able to remind us of who our Porsche drivers are?
Well,
there's one. There's Gabsy. Yes.
Yeah. I can't remember all of them. I'm sure we'll see them throughout.
We'll keep our eye on the Porsche drivers and see how they fare.
Yeah, I think Marco's in one. I think Gabsy's in one.
Mr. Audi. Not in an Audi.
No, in a BMW. Ironic.
Mr. Audi in a BMW.
Right, well, we've been talking. Mr. Moore's got his act together and managed to get out of that hairpin in one piece and popped in a time.
Yeah, 200ths up from Mr. Dove.
Yeah, I think in practice I was doing 144 or 5 with full tank of fuel, so that's certainly a good.
And do we know in comparison to real life, Mr. Moore's time there? Is that comparative?
I haven't looked to tell you the truth.
I'll find out. I'll find out.
Get on Google.
Google is your friend.
Get to the last 3 minutes. Looks like there's time for one last run, should anybody to try it.
Now, interesting enough, the records for GT3 cars in Lausitz as of 2018, I'll look later on for the 2019, but it's 132. 132.
There's probably a different lane.
That's for the EuroSpeedway.
Yeah.
We'll cancel this. This is a red herring. I'll end up getting my head beaten against the wall later on for pretty much saying everyone's too slow. That's not wise. I've only been here 2 days.
Oh, you can call them too slow if you like.
I'm still making tea.
That's my teammate, Dave Crew. Unfortunately, I won't be supporting him with the points tonight, but I'll be using this as my second drop round.
And that's an interesting point there for anyone who's this is their first live stream that they're watching. Is this a team race or is this an individual?
We chose to include teams. We have often tried to in the past. It's largely a bit of fun, but I suppose there is a competitive element. One thing's different with this league, because of the use of Race App, it forces teammates to be using the same car.
Right. Sorry, go on.
But that does have the bonus of being able to share set.
And off goes Gabsy there, just while you were mentioning his name. Sorry.
That's right. I was just saying you can help each other. If anybody finds something with a particular setup, you can pass it on to the teammate. You can train at the same time and share any experiences.
Yeah, that's good, and that's all part of the sort of team cohesion and the depth to the group of having that sort of element to it. Seems that Sector 2 people are having problems around that.
Yeah, there's one oddity about this track is one or two of the corners, the inside curb runs out before the end of the corner, so it's actually quite difficult to see where the exit of the corner is.
Yeah.
That corner that Hayden's just gone through, not this left-hander, the right-hander before it. Oh, in fact, that is one of the. Because the curb runs out a little early, it sort of teases you into putting your foot. Before you know it, you're running off the side of the track.
And there he goes. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Jake's popped it in pole. Brendan Dove hasn't managed to surpass him, unfortunately. There we go, C-Sam. Doing very well in the Bentley yet again. Pinpoint a very strong 4th. Rod is a surprising 5th.
Second behind with Madley at 108.4. Then Mr. Bean, not as funny, at 1.
I believe Dave Crew was just after that. Oh, we've got 3 minutes of warm-up.
Now, on the 3-minute warm-up, is the coding of race room, does that allow for tyres to be warmed up during these 3 minutes and carried forward, or is this just nothing more than drivers' familiarisation of the track?
A little bit of that. You can go out and perhaps run with a full fuel load and get a feel for it, but I think there's probably more likely real life reasons, as it gives you a chance to go make a cup of tea or whatever.
Or strap a bottle on.
Yeah. You'll find a lot of our races rarely stretch beyond an hour because it's about the limit of Charger's bladder.
Yeah.
Well, I shall have my fingers crossed for Pinpoint. He's done extremely well.
Yeah, just remind me, he's in a strong 4th position, right?
Yeah, he has definitely made big improvements. I mean, he was never really that slow or anything. It was just perhaps consistency that he struggled, but that's improved drastically over the last month or two. So
that's a big key word in sim racing in general. Would you not agree? And that's consistency.
Oh, yes.
Stay on the black stuff and worry about the speed.
Yeah, perhaps sometimes just back it off 2 or 3%, just to keep the consistency good.
Yeah.
Something I usually aim for myself.
Yeah, I try to stay on the grey stuff. I'd much rather have a whole race having not come off or hit something, and very happy to finish last. You know, providing I've had a good clean race. And as I said, you know, I go back to what I said earlier on: racing clean and racing fair, then race for position last. That doesn't mean to say you give way if you've got a fighting chance with whoever it is that you're meleeing with, but ultimately, you know, these cars in real life are worth millions, and they don't drive into the back of each other just to gain a place, which of course is all part of the ethic of racing clean, right?
Yeah, it's not touring car.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, touring cars in the mid-90s and Donington Pub. So 5 seconds left of warm up.
Yep, soon to go to the grid.
And they get themselves to the grid, or oh, there we go.
It's just a question of checking your setup, make sure everything's loaded, checking your pit stop presets are correct, and clicking drive.
And just remind our viewers, there is a pit stop on this, right?
Yep, one compulsory pit stop. Must change at least 2 tyres, although in practice, changing 2 tyres is foolish. The balance of grip certainly will throw you off or cause you problem. Alright, they're ready to go.
Rolling start or standing start? And
they're off.
There you go.
Looks like it's going to be 3 wide into the first.
Yeah, 4 wide almost. Yeah, 3 wide, 4. Oh, there's a hit.
And it looks like Rodders was the sufferer there.
Yeah, he'll be making his way through the track, through the field later, I think.
He'll be cursing in Scottish.
As they go through, the Porsches, we'll be watching them fairly closely on the performance side of things, but we're looking at Dave Crew at the minute in the mud.
Yeah, myself slightly jealousy.
Your teammate, right?
Yeah, same car. Cursing this because of Rodder's misfortune. I'm up against him in the championship.
Well, we'll be watching for Rodders because he will be fighting his way. He's a fast racer, and he'll be making his way through the field. I've no doubt there. And I'm looking at the timings there, and he's about half a second behind number 17, Mr. Evil. So there we go.
Yeah, already making places. He'll be thinking a little bit about possible strategy. Unfortunately, you can't pit too early. This is a given limit. I think it's probably about 5-10 minutes. You can't go in and do your pit stop before that for it to count.
Yeah.
It's also a very risky strategy because you're going to have wasted tyres by the end of the race.
Rodder's really charging through the field now, up to 15th.
Be nice to get a bit of him on board, but we can. Oh look, there he is. Makes another move. I think that's on Charger in the back.
Of course, we shouldn't be forgetting our leader at the minute, Mr. Moore there. Really pulling up a nice lead there, 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, he's got a good habit of that. He's always very strong off the start.
Yeah, and that's extending out already to 3 seconds. He's really going to be exploiting this opportunity to move away from the main pack. Meanwhile, Rodders has moved up to 13th. As we said, watch out for him. He's going to be making his way through the field. So we're currently with Hayden and now Mr. Bean.
Yeah, those little Z4s very strong. There's one leading and there's one in 3rd place.
And a very short wheelbase, which I think helps them round the corners.
Yeah, they're probably quite nimble in the hairpin.
And very skitty. I think they're quite skitty.
Yeah, I found them a little bit tail happy, but I think that could possibly be dark. Obviously, I think this iteration is a few years behind the other cars around it now. I think it's probably something like a 2014 car, where probably the others are 2016, 17.
We see Marco in the Porsche. Up behind Mr. Bond now. Oh no, that's Rodders. That's Rodders in front now at 11th. Which as he makes a move on the inside.
Looks like John D got a slow down there, I think. Went a little wide out of the hair. Looks like he was going slow. He's oh, I think there's another little collision there. Yep. Gabs has been forced wide.
Oh, that's a shame. Rodders right now has got a rocket up him, and he's really gaining on Banksy. About 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, Banksy will have the sweats on, I think. He'll know exactly who it is behind him.
Riding with FX and looking up towards Mr. Dove. Everyone here on the league tonight, Rige, they're RWB members?
Yes, apart from CSAM. I think CSAM's a member of SRO, but does do a lot of racing with them. Might be able to persuade him at some point in the future.
I think Hayden got hit then, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, you could well be right.
Rodders up to 10th.
Yeah.
I suppose we should also explain, just to remind myself actually, that now remind me, are we about a second or so behind or in front?
No, a couple of seconds behind. If you, I don't know if you got the sound up on YouTube, but you can hear yourself.
I'm afraid I've turned that down, because if I hear too much of myself, I want to smash my own head.
Well, you're certainly self-deprecating.
Yeah. Well, I like smashing my own head in, so I might turn the volume up a little bit later.
Well, you get
GTR, the Godzilla. How do you view them in the race, this particular league?
I think they're a good, strong midfielder. Say it takes a lot of concentration to micromanage them around every corner. Very, very tail happy. They've got a lot of torque. So as you're exiting corners, they really want to break loop. But the odd thing is that seems to lack overall speed on the straights. He's having a look. Looks like a nice move actually. Kept it tucked into the inside. Obviously, as Rodders makes his way up the field, he's going to find his work harder and harder as he gets up to some of the quicker guys. Oh, little touch there. Looks like he's held on to it. Missed our pinpoint, dropped so far down the field.
And Rodders up to 9th now, and who's that facing the other way? Brandon Dove. So we'll expect him to join the pack, but he'll be down at the bottom there, which obviously is.
Can you imagine what's happened there? He's either had a little touch or that Corvette's. He's got a little heavy on the right foot and flipped it round. It is quite difficult getting the power down out of that head.
Yeah, typical Corvette, very skitty, very tail happy, but in the right hands, fantastic.
It's proven to be a really good car in this lead. Looks like Rodders has made his way past Banksy.
Rodders very impressively up to 7th now, 17 seconds behind Mr. Moore. Is it Jay Moore's?
Yeah, otherwise known as Speed or Speedy.
Or just Speed.
Yeah. We've made a bit of a move in this league, switching over to race room. We noticed a lot of people who race use their rightful name.
That's interesting. Called Tiger.
Yeah. But not everybody's followed it, so but we sort of followed the same mantra of I've done it myself. I've changed mine from Rigel to my correct name. And if you look down the list, anybody with an R, it's probably RWB and their handle or their money.
Yeah. So there goes Jake, Jay, Speed. He's really, he's been floating between 2.5 and 3.5 seconds from the pack in average around the circuit. The differential time is constantly being evaluated. So of course, when Speed goes on one of the straights, he can really sort of open it out. But of course, the others will bunch up. But just keep that eye on Jay's time there, because Rodders is now up to 7th, 18 seconds behind. And I'm willing to bet he'll finish certainly in the top 5.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Although he's certainly going to have to work for it. Yeah, it does look like Sam is pegging him a little bit. He's not running away with it.
No, he's keeping respectable. He's keeping up with Jay. There's no doubt about that. I just noticed Pinpoint sadly down at 15th. I'm wondering whether he had a problem or was gate crashed in one of the corners. But he's down at 15th. So let's hope he bumps up a few places.
Yeah, I don't know if we missed it. Too busy talking, or one or the other, or maybe it was part of
there he is. Yeah,
the slap altercations.
Oh, fantastic! Look, 2 places there around that corner. Fantastic drive.
And it certainly looks like Chudge is getting a bit of abuse from Evil. Well deserved, I'd say. There is a bit of a battle going on there, by the way.
Yeah, certainly there is.
Go. We've got a illustration of a Porsche Speed against an Audi. Seems to be quite well matched there.
Yeah. I have to say, as a lover of them both, I think the Porsche looks better.
Yeah, I think the Audi's a little too angular.
Now, is Gabsy going to take this? Is really good. I think he's going to. Is Flackeen, Flack 9, Flackeen, fucking Flack.
You wouldn't be the first to have problems with name.
So Flack really held it there from Gabsy, which is great driving. Gabsy right on his tail though, he's not going to let him get away. I was expecting to see Flack go defensive and take an inside line, but obviously he felt he had the speed on
Flack 9.
Yeah, Flack 9, that's it. Jesus.
Yeah. Looks like Rodders is catching up with FX. And in front of him, McLaren. FX trying to make that tiny BMW as wide as possible. McLaren's had a bit of a wobble out of the corner line.
Right up the chuff of
double draft.
That Corvette there.
He's going to make a move, I think. Yep, there we go. Oh, now he's going to take a wider line. Bailed out of that one, methinks. I don't think it'll be too many more laps. Depends how much longer FX can sweat for.
Yeah. Riding with Rodders again, 7th behind FX. Really close to him there. Has FX let him past or yeah? I don't think he let him pass, but I think FX had a problem on that corner.
Yeah, I don't think it was commentator's curse. I think it was going to happen anyway. Looks like your mate Madley. He's had a bit of an argument with the wall.
He has, in 16th at the minute, right behind Flack, and Madley is a fast racer. He won't be sitting there. He'll make his way through.
He'll be praying for the pit stops to come up. get that damage sorted.
Oh, as he loses a position to Gabsy in the Porsche. 2 positions to 2 Porsches actually. Madley back down to 18. Damage is on, so do you think he's got a problem with performance?
Yeah, he'll have lost a bit of front aero for sure. Yeah. Perhaps not quite so important on this track. A lot of the corners are quite slow ones. So I'm sure he will be feeling some kind of pain. Big
no,
gap.
are we seeing the first pits? No, he's just cutting the corner there.
No, we'll be around about the half hour. No, it doesn't make sense to pit any earlier, really.
And no speed advantage, right? Everyone's going to have the same sort of time penalty, so the only strategy is when you take it.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think you'll take it much more than 5 minutes before the half hour or 5 minutes after. Occasionally, people like Speed perhaps will run a bit longer. That way you can take advantage of fresh tyres on a lighter fuel. Because obviously there's no time to be gained by putting fuel in at the pit stop because the fuel takes too long to add. Much better to run with a heavy fuel load at the beginning of the race. You only lose maybe half a second per lap. That never balances out with how long it takes to put fuel in.
Yeah. So quick recap. Jay's still out in front in the first position there with 4.5 seconds behind with CSAM, and then a fairly large gap to the rest of the pack being led by Mr. About 10 seconds between those 2 packs. You can see the first 2 there just by timings alone. We'd like to see a bit of the action by the director, but the director focuses on where the actions are depending on the space gaps between the cars. As we're looking here at Gabsy in the Porsche behind Flat 9 on this straight here. Let's see how this Porsche keeps up with the Audi. It's not, is it?
No, I don't know if he got quite a good exit out of the corner.
Any particular reason, Raj, why some are taking narrow lines around there and some are taking wide lines?
It could be just down to how well the car pulls out the corner. Some cars will understeer under. Me myself, I found I was using first gear for that hairpin. It was very marginal that you could perhaps use second, but it would have definitely pushed the nose a bit wider.
Yeah, and something's just in now. The stewards have issued Charger with a slowdown penalty for track limit abuse. So he's going to be kicking himself now and punching the dials, I'm sure, because he's going to lose some positions there with the drop. Was that a warning or a drive-through?
Not sure. Yeah, it's actually it's not that easy to get a penalty on this track. The first corner is one of the chief places because it's not really a proper curve. It's just a bunch of cones. As you arrive there, it's just a sort of a painted someone off in the background. I believe that's Marco. Yep. Looks like he's gone wide.
Yeah, Flak 9 takes Gabsy on the inside there. Gabsy's right up his chuff, and he's going to want that back.
Yeah, good fight between
we'll be, yeah, it seems that they're well matched. That's a couple of times now they've gone backwards and forwards, I believe.
We're back to Rodders, who's fought his way back up to 6th, challenging for 5th. Little nudge, but nothing more than a racing incident. There's no, he didn't smack him too hard. Just harassing.
Just letting him know he's there. Whispering in his ear as Rodders takes 5th position now. Wow, that's some really great driving there.
Yeah, that's a good fight back.
Very good. As he loses it to 6th again. Well, you know, that Corvette is got some oomph in it. McLaren's not just going to give it over, is he? He's going to make Rodders work, but Rodders will work. And as he's weaving around, trying to make Rodders take the inside line, perhaps on defensive, and then go around the outside. I've seen Rodders do that a couple of times.
Yeah, these cars are very, very well matched. So the Corvette, the BMW M6 and the Mercedes are all right up.
Yeah, I mean, that's some close racing going on right now. You see McLaren there taking the inside line to go defensive around there. Be interesting to see what he does when we cut off of the main street.
Oh, just cut away, unfortunately. Looks like they're having a bit of fun there. He's managed to get a different line. Oh no, I think he's actually lost out a little.
Yeah, he's just dropped 2 seconds.
Had a bit of a moment.
Of course, we shouldn't lose sight of Jay in first position there. 5 seconds now in front of CSAM, who's not hanging around because he's 15 seconds away from the main pack, which is fairly significant. And you know, we're looking at some very talented, very quick sim racers here. So to say that you know, Jay and CSAM are 15 seconds in front of the rest of the pack is really fairly significant, right?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, CSAM's almost hanging on to him, but not quite. But in the same vein, it's only going to take one little foot wrong by CSAM will be there ready to pound.
Where would you say on this track, Raj? Where would you say is the best place to make up some time in one of the 3 sets?
Hard to say. The first corner is very important on this, and getting a good rhythm through these tight ones here. It's quite hard to know exactly when to get on the power. It is a tricky bit of a track, this one. Audi harassing Banks. Looks like this lot are kind of holding station a little bit. It's a good close battle.
Yeah, he's not going to let him go, is he?
Certainly not.
Rodder's up to 6th.
Oh, and Audi
Oh,
runs
holding
a little
together
bit wide.
now, Audi. Oh, yeah, well held.
Did hear talk that some people thought that BMW's brakes weren't quite as good as the rest, but I beg to differ. I think it might appear that they're not as good, but they seem to cope pretty well. I think perhaps the only difference is they can't really outbrake anybody. Here we are, back to Rudders harassing Hayden. You could probably be looking for a decent slipstream out of the last couple. Might try and get a better exit. It's going tighter.
Oh, his Rodder's going to take him on the inside there. I thought he was. He's really staying with him.
Like he got a good exit.
Yeah, very much so. And Hayden taking the narrower line there. Again, coming up to this corner. Please, Mr. Director, don't cut it.
Oh, looks like he's got the first corner smooth. So you get that wider line through the corner. And Hayden placing his car very well.
Very, very well. Some great defensive driving there. I can't help but feel, though, having watched for the past, 2 or 3 minutes with these two, that Hayden's perhaps holding Rodders up. Not holding him up as in on purpose, but holding him up speed-wise. I think Rodders can go faster, and I think the first opportunity he's going to get, as soon as Hayden slips up with that bit of defensive driving, as he does here on this corner here, he'll try and take him.
Yeah, it certainly will, although it has to be said, and through my own driving, I know quite a lot of the time chasing somebody you feel like you drive fast. It's actually quite hard to focus on keeping up a good speed when you're out there on.
Yeah, talking of speed, Jay now 6.5 seconds in front.
Yeah, managed to slip in another second or two there.
There's something to be said for a clear track.
Can be speed's worst enemy, though. I have known him to have too much time to himself and make a little mistake here and there. I think he'd be the first to admit that.
Yeah, and I think Madeley 4 laps down now in 20th position. I don't know whether he's retired or whether he's limping around, unlike him to give in, as we got our first one into the pits there.
It looks like it was... Yeah, I was looking at it and I didn't see. I think it was Audi. I'm feeling Rodders has gone in as well.
Now this is at this point now we're wondering whether Jay pits early or uses the opportunity to extend his lead a bit.
I think he'll probably pit on the other side of 30 minutes. He's comfortably ahead. He's increasing his deficit. I think he's comfortable for the minute. And Pinpoint's found his way back up to 9. That's good.
You just read my mind. I was just about to say, absolutely fantastic to see Pinpoint right up at the top there. In the top 10. Of course, he's got a pit yet, but still, he's up to 8th. That's fantastic. Here we are. We're riding with Pinpoint, sweating in there and swearing.
I think whilst he was going around the last corner as well, we saw a bit of dust. I think John D.
Yeah, I think that was certainly the case. Jinxie in 7th in Godzilla. And another Godzilla. Evil. GTR just does look so great.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a good-looking car, doesn't make for a quick one.
Talking of good-looking car, they've done a great job on that. It's a fantastic car, but as we said earlier, maybe a little bit of a balance of performance issue, not quite sure. But
certainly think so.
Sam in the Bentley, one of the hardest ones to drive in the GT3 class, I think, in race room. Just a big lumbering lump, but in the right hands, as we can see, you know, very.
Yeah, I had a very close race with him last week. I think it was only through a bit of pressure, perhaps. He was driving it very much on. I think maybe that's his style. But he had an unfortunate spin. But he caught right back up to us once I had a little collision with Rodders, so we slowed down to let him back past, and unfortunately that let Sam back. And I spent a good 3-4 laps defending very hard.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, looking at the display there, it seems Rodders, McLaren, and Mr. Audi and Cos, they've all been into the pit.
Yep. Shouldn't be too far away from a few others going in very.
I have to say, I was lucky enough the other night to have a one-on-one with Mr. Moore there around Spa, and I was following him, and it was almost like his car was on amphetamine. It just surged ahead so quick. It was very interesting to evaluate my own driving style when racing with a pure xenophobe like xenomorph rather.
Yeah,
like,
xenophobe.
Xenophobe. Crikey. Religion? No.
Yeah, I think what you see in there is somebody who basically lived and breathed racing games from a young age.
Some say he was born holding a steering wheel. Others say if you take his trousers down, it says Fanatec on his left arse.
I can only say I feel sorry for his mother.
Whose name is Thrustmaster.
Yeah.
And whose father is known as Accelerator Pedal. Back to the racing. Pinpoint up to 7th, which is great. Still got a pit though. We're watching Mr. Audi there. He's pitted a course. But he's got Hayden in front of him, who's also pitted, and as we've seen, is a fantastic racer and very quick. You know, we keep saying very quick. These people are really quick. These racers are really quick. They're all bloody quick. I mean, they are really quick. If you was to put any of these in, let's just call it a normal server, they would be on their own. They are all in such a very tight group of. I don't want to blow the whistle too much, but almost an elite bracket. I think from osmosis of learning and riding and racing with each other, none of them are slow, yeah, so it's so very tight to pick out who's just that little bit better than the others. But of course, we're seeing that with the likes of Jay and Rodders and a few others who have really made their progress through the field, which is great to see.
I think what you're seeing is very much a product of club racing over public lobby. It's obviously a lot fairer. Everyone has got a lot of room for everybody. You don't get taken out a lot of the time. You get to study people's lines. People will share setups with you. So it's as you're right. It is there is a certain osmosis to it. But you will find just, you know, being able to follow other people, you'll start to adjust, and without knowing it, you will get quicker.
Yeah, and we see there, I think that's John who got a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, Charge has just got one as well. We had a whole glut of people into the pit lane just there on the half-hour mark.
Yeah, he's going to be really pissed. He's going to be really annoyed about that. There's no question about it.
He's certainly not alone. I would probably put it down to people not practicing the pit lane entry. And it's a very strange exit to this pit lane. You switch on to a pit lane entry on the inside of the track, and then before you know it, you're into the end of the pit lane. Very difficult to slow down for.
Yeah. And it is possible to put the pit lane or pit limiter on, floor it, and it is possible to get a penalty because it fluctuates 1 mile an hour over. I've done that in practice myself. So just because you've got a pit limiter, you know, you still need to sort of feather and make sure that you're under that limit.
All right. Can't say I've ever suffered that myself, thankfully.
Yeah, not a regular, as we see your buddy there, Dave, doing well. 6th.
Yeah. I think Mr. Dover's going to be not too happy at Bunny this race. I saw he picked up a drive-through as well.
So we've only got five drivers yet to pit. Mr. Bean is currently in 1st, Banksy in 2nd, Gabsy in 12th in the Porsche, Flank 9 in the Audi in 13th, and Madeley in 20th. I think Madeley's retired, forcibly.
Yeah. Looks like, yeah, it's unfortunate. I think as you spoke, somebody else popped into the pit as Hayden goes wide. Oh, and he's lost the place to Audi. Hayden will be kicking himself there. I think he was drawn into that pushing too hard out of that. As I was speaking about earlier, the curbs run out like just there.
Yeah.
Still, 8's not too bad a position. There's still 25 minutes to go.
Jay back in 1st position there, just about a second in front of Banksy. Rodders having pitted now 37 seconds behind, but I wanted to bet that will close. Of course,
just
Banksy's
moved
got
up to 4th.
Yeah. Which will place Rodders, if we look at the current rate standings, in 3rd, you know, by default, because Banksy's got a...
Let's see, it'll be 30, 36, 37 second. Not sure how long it takes to do a pit here, but it's usually about 45, 50 seconds, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It's one wheel at a time for a start, isn't it?
Yeah. If Banksy pulls off a nice smart pit stop, he could well be somewhere near the mix. FX now, trying to get involved in this little battle. Hayden's not giving up on that position. He makes a move. Can he hold it together there? Are the brakes good enough?
Yeah,
no, Audi's got a better exit.
Oh, a little bit too wide. Oh, he's just staying on the rumble there. Yeah, it just got it, I think. Yeah, we've got a right-hand corner coming up. He's got the defensive line. Very well done. Great racing there.
And we see a little bit of Cos for a moment, and then he, just as I mentioned it, he disappeared. he'll be quite happy with his position. Beating Charger after all. As we can see, those Porsches are languishing a little bit.
Yeah, you know, you took the words right out of my mouth. They're not up the front there, are they?
Certainly
I don't think
not.
that's down to. I don't think that's down to ability. I think that's down to a balance of performance issue with the Porsche. But that's my own view. That's not a club view. That's just.
Oh, Cisa! Not too hard on the brakes there.
No, we don't want that. He doesn't want that. Rodders will exploit that, I'm sure. No, absolutely. That he's going to have CSAM in his sights.
He's got a bit of ground to make up yet, mine. A good 20 seconds, but it will certainly contribute.
38 minutes into the race, though, 22 to go. We've seen the pace of Rodders. CSAM, though, I mean, he's no flout and already in second position, so he's back on the track in that monster of a Bentley. But Banksy still in third, but he's yet to pit.
Yeah, he's running. Must be comfortable on his tyres at the moment.
It must be threadbare. They must look like cotton at the minute.
Actually, I think Cruz just got past. Which is good for me and my team. Good on you, crew. And it looks like Banksy's finally pitted.
Yep. And Rodder's very comfortable at the minute because he's got 20 seconds in front and 20 seconds behind him. So 6 seconds behind him. So he's got some space. He's got a bit of open track there. He'll be pushing that really quite hard. As we see that Brandon Dove has got a slow down penalty.
Yeah, not really a very good race for Brandon. I'm sure he won't be too happy about it. He's a very strong competitor.
The duo of Porsches there, of Charger and riding with Marco.
Having their own
sideline.
Having their own personal little battle.
Flag 9 slow down penalty for track limit abuse, but Charger takes the corner there. Oh, and who's that?
That was flag 9.
That's flag 9. Flag 9.
So, to add insult to injury, he ran wide and got penalty on top. The only consolation is getting back on the track. By the time he does, he'll have served the penalty.
Yeah.
Back to this tight battle here. The FX isn't letting Audi get pinpoints, trying to tackle along.
Pinpoint back to 9th, which is great. He's gone up and down. He should change his name to Yo-Yo, really. I'm probably not going to tell that to him in person, but he's done a fantastic race.
This will be recorded.
Well, only been here 2 days. I want to go toe to toe, but yeah, great to see him back up at 9th. And let's have a look at the top. So I mean, he's a second behind FX, so he's right up there with the pack, and he's got a bit of space behind him of 7 seconds. So let's see if he can climb up a bit more.
Yeah,
Rodders.
All about concentration, particularly in these this latter half of the road. Easy for the mind to wander a little bit. Oh, pinpoint, come on. Getting closer, the two battling in front are slowing each other down. Can Audi make the move stick?
I think Audi's had a fantastic race. Again, I keep saying it, I'm boring myself now, but another great driver, Mr. Audi, no question.
Certainly. Very much likes this this BMW. perhaps not the best track for it. I don't know. As I say, the BMW and the Merc and the Corvette are very strong cars anyway.
Pinpoint right up Audi's chuff there, going on the inside to see whether he can.
He's done well.
Maybe make it.
Can he hold
it? Can he hold it? He did. Well done. Fantastic.
Though Audi might be cursing him, I think he ran him out of road.
Mr. Audi in the BMW, whipped by a Merc. Well done, Pinpoint. Keep it together now. This is all about continuity, right? We've got 17 minutes left. The racers have been concentrating hard. An hour sim racing at this sort of competition level is quite tiring.
Yeah, it's good exercise in concentration though.
I think that was Mr. Audi just went off there.
Probably fuming.
Your buddy Dave done really well. He's in 4th and running quite strong. About 8 seconds behind Rodders and a good 4 seconds in front of Mr. Bean. So fantastic effort there. So
yeah, cursing it a little bit because I'm fairly sure I'd have been there or thereabout. Some good points to be had. Back to these lovely Porsches. Oh, I think they're going to be
their own little battle, aren't they?
I think they're joined at the hip, to be honest.
Yeah, very well matched, and clearly very well matched driver-wise because they've been backwards and forwards. On a sim side of things, how in your view, Raj, does Race Room simulate the tyre wear?
Yeah, pretty good. It's you just lose a bit of grip, I suppose. I mean, you don't get any extra effects through the steering and stuff.
Which of course is Race Room is infamous for its force feedback, particularly over the past year with the various patches. Only the other night racing with some guys, absolutely blown away in the DTM in the feedback that they were getting back, where they were literally quite amazed at how different it was to when they last drove it. So that's the great thing, of course, with force feedback when it's mapped properly, is that you can really feel when the tyres lose the grip on the track.
Yeah, I think it's testament to when a developer puts the feel of a game at least as high as the content. You don't need quite so much content if the feel of it is right.
Yeah. We're looking at Pinpoint here, and he's hassling FX, and which is great because Pinpoint wants that 7th position, but of course FX doesn't want to give it to him. He's going to race hard. Oh, there we go. Surely he's got the slingshot there out of that.
FX didn't have quite as good an exit to the corner.
Pinpoint's going to have him. He's going to take on the inside. There he goes.
The same move as he did on Audi.
Yep. Fantastic. He's got it. He's clear. He's half a length clear.
Well done, Pinpoint.
Yeah.
Got a bit between his teeth now.
Hasn't he just?
Got a good 7 seconds to make up though to get up to McLaren.
The brick, as it delicately dances its way around the track in the hands of.
Is Dave catching? Yeah, I think Dave's catching Rodders here a little.
He is. You're right. I'm wondering whether off camera whether Rodders had a slight lost some speed somewhere. That's nothing against Dave, of course, but you're right. Originally, I think it was about 3.5 seconds. So let's keep our eye on them, on those timings.
I wonder whether maybe Rodders has really put the put the hammer down and cooked his tyres a little.
Very likely, yeah. And let's face it, he's gone up and down, you know, the whole length. So he's really pushed that.
Yeah, and I think he was one of the first to pit as well. The first group, I think, picked at the same time as Audi. So his tyres will certainly be the oldest.
Certainly, we want to be watching Dave because Dave Crew there in fourth, because he's going to be giving Rodders a hard time, because you only have to look at those times. He's, you know, between 700ths and a second, which is a fairly long distance, but in a track like this where there are lots of corners, what looks like third and fourth gear corners, he can easily meet that, easily meet the challenge.
Just looking at the timings, I think possibly Brandon Dove's either been in for a long stop, might have pulled out, I'm not sure. Everybody lapped up to charge up. Or was that just when they're crossing the finish line? I'm looking at their timings, they're 2 minutes 10 odd behind, and it's a minute 45 for a lap. I'd say probably up to John D, they've all been lapped. John D, H2, possibly Gabsy.
Yeah, and there's Jay there, 30 seconds in front of Cezanne. So click onto him again. I think you're right. I think he's certainly lapped a good.
About 6 of them, I think.
What were we saying? 145? Yeah.
It's actually
there he is. Talk of the devil.
Quite a big gap to see Sam there. Actually, I wonder if see Sam's had another little moment. Well, the gap back to Rodders is 20 seconds. That really doesn't seem to have changed.
Yeah, well, of course, Jay being in traffic now, although he's making good ways through them, that really gives Sam and Rodders a chance to close up. But that gap that he's got is just just so much more, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. It's nearly a third of a lap.
So we're over 3/4 way through the roost. We've got 10 minutes through the race. 10 minutes left. Fair to say, if they stay on the black stuff, then and short of 1 or 2 places being moved either side, notwithstanding the top 3, that the positions are pretty much set with the help of the continuity got. Charger got another slow down penalty. Sorry, Raj.
Yeah, that's right. I'd spotted it myself, and I think he's got another one as well.
He's collecting them.
He'll be cursing and swearing. Yeah, looking down through the field, there's not too many close gaps there. There's 1 or 2.
Yeah, most of them have got some space as we look down the main straight there, and we're looking at Evil behind Mr. Audi, and to the first corner there. That seems that he's caught him a bit.
Yeah, I think those early pitters are paying a bit of a price now.
Yeah, and the effect on the tyres, right?
Yeah. It's only going to be a couple of points difference, really, 5 or 10% perhaps, but. Going back to what you said earlier, how do we think the tyres degrade? They do certainly seem to have a bit of a drop-off point as we see Evil making a move.
And he's got him on the inside, yeah. But of course, we've got a right-hander coming up, and Mr. Audi's on the inside, so he's got the defensive lock. But I think actually Evil's just in front of him, so he should be able to cut in.
Oh, and Hayden going slowly. What's going on there?
Hayden had a problem, perhaps, or came off.
Maybe another slowdown.
He's back there.
Steady, Hayden, steady. I think he was too busy defending to spot his braking point there.
Yeah, he's really pushing it, isn't he? They're all really pushing now in the last 10 minutes. No one's sitting on their laurels, despite what I said earlier on about 1 or 2 positions, and positions pretty much set. That doesn't stop any of them from really pushing and giving themselves, and of course their club mates are good.
No, say the concentration is the key thing, and at this stage of a race you try to concentrate the most, counting on somebody else to lose their concentration. It does occasionally pay off.
It's paid off for me. A little bit sideways there, Mr. Audi, but staying on the inside.
I think he's got. Has he got Evil back?
I think he has. Yeah.
No, that's back
there.
So Audi's in a GTR sandwich at the moment.
He loves a GTR sandwich.
Very lucky.
A little bit
there.
of a knock there.
Yeah, very lucky. Not really sure why Audi's struggling. Well, that is, if he is struggling. I think he is. I can only put it down to the tyres.
Yeah, I think they're all, as you say, suffering with tyres now. Yeah, and you can see Mr. Audi just sliding.
Yeah, he would definitely wide on the entrance to that head.
It'd be interesting to get the feedback from the racers after the race, how their tyres were degrading around here, which, you know, a lot of, you know, sweeping corners, a lot of fast corners, a lot of slow corners, but lots of traction coming out has really taken its.
Come on, Audi, just 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, they're really holding on. These two have got their own battle now, and that's where they'll be focusing on. Audi maintaining his position. He's got too much, really, I think, in the last 5 minutes to catch up with Mr. Evil. But Banksy will want his position.
Yeah, Audi's going to have to work hard to compensate a little, break that a little bit sooner.
Word for Pinpoint, he's in 6th position now, and only 10 seconds behind Mr. Bean, and a good 3 second or so lead on. A little bit of a stream interruption there, not sure whether that will come out.
Yeah, hopefully that'll settle down.
As we see Banksy taking Audi on that corner there. And Audi all over the back of him, like a tramp on chips. Pinpoint, we're in the last four minutes or so of the race, but fantastic race by.
Yeah, and Pinpoint will be very happy with his position after his early altercation. People might have picked up on what that was at the beginning of the stream.
Looks like Banksy's almost pulling away from Audi. I'm not sure whether that's because Audi may have made a mistake, or whether he's actually got better tyres. But of course that's not going to stop Audi.
Oh, so he's actually, yeah, he's got past him. I missed that. My stream was a bit fuzzy at the time. Just refreshed it. It's come back to sharp again.
Yeah, Audi's had a good first corner there, faster through it than Banksy, and he's closed the gap slight.
I think he's only going to be hanging on now. Well, it certainly seems to be paying the price.
Yeah, and 3 minutes left of the race as we look at CSAM. Wow, an impressive ride by him, impressive race by him as we look at Hayden with that problem he had earlier on, back down to 11th.
Yeah, CSAM perhaps a little fortunate. He had a nice whenever he did make his little errors. Very fortunate that Rodder's had his own problems early on. Don't realise much that Dave Crew can catch Rudders. I think Rudders is managing to compensate. Obviously the fuel load coming right down now, so the car's very light. Lack of grip on the tyres will be mitigated to a certain extent.
Stream really being affected now. Not sure what's happening there, but
yeah, we'll stick with it. I think it'll all be smooth when it's all been processed.
By which point we'll be about 20 seconds in front.
No, I think it'll be fine. Once again, I'll look at the gaps. Looks like FX, and it looks like Evil's just taken. And given that Banksy was so close to Evil before, I think he'll be hunting for that 8th place as well.
Yeah, shame with Charger had quite a few penalties on this race. Otherwise, I think he would have been up a few more places. As we look at Mark Bean there in 5th, doing really well.
Yeah, it's a strong race for the Z.
Very much so, yeah.
Interesting to see how they do next week at Spa. I think they have got some straight line speed, whether it's in overall top end acceleration, I don't know. We'll find that out next.
Last 30 seconds of the race.
Yeah, not sure if you're aware, but the counter goes to 0 and then it's last lap after that.
Last lap, yeah. I think it has to be said, generally great racing by everybody, as I think Mark Bean? He's got a slow down penalty for track limits.
Yeah, he's on his own now, so he's got time to take that. Yeah, often is now a standard racer is always very fair. Although there might be one or two conversations about the early laps.
Jake Moore, first position. There he is on his last lap. I've got ice written on the side of his car. Cool as ice. There he goes. The Xenomore. Some say he has 3 sets of teeth.
Like a shark.
Fantastic, really, really good. So inspirational, isn't it, to see someone with such talent? Well, to see so many with such talent, but you know, he really is a cut above.
Oh, see Sam, a little cutaway there. What was that?
Yeah, my stream's really degraded now. I can't see the time differential between him and Rodders. I think Rodders is still in.
Yeah, he's got 18 seconds. Refresh your page, it'll come back. Here we go then. So win for Jake. Well done.
Yeah, very well done. And CSAM holds on to second, I think. Or was that Rodders that went through? No, it wasn't. So CSAM held on to second. Holding on to second.
It's down to 7-8 seconds gap now.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I think he's only got a few corners to go. Just keep it together, CSAM. There we go. All he's got to do is get over the finish line. It does seem to be going a bit slow. I don't know what the problem is.
I think he's teasing Rodders. Yeah, he's over. Very well done, CSAM and Rodders. And taking fourth, Dave Crew and Mr. Bean. Come around the corner there. Is sorry, that's Mark Bean. And Pinpoint.
Shortly followed by Pinpoint, and we should see some GTRs coming around the corner in a good few seconds. Here we are. That's Evil. FX is 8th. Banksy's 9th. And Audi won't be terribly happy, but
well, if that doesn't inspire you to join to come along, I don't know what will. That was some fantastic racing. Racer of the match, racer of the match, racer of the race, driver of the race. Who would you say?
Well, it's going to be Rodders making that comeback, hasn't it?
Absolutely, I absolutely agree.
Much as I don't really like to big him up too.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Right, he's definitely driver of the race. And in my view, that means that he's got the prize of buying everyone at least a crate of beer.
Who's that?
I reckon, yeah. Now, if you're quick enough, you might get a word in. Race third place.
Can you hear us, guys?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Although I think it's going to cut out in a minute.
Let Speed go first quickly then. Or maybe
Go on,
not.
start bomb.
What's that?
I'll let you go first. I'm eating.
Oh, I'm over the moon with third after the start. I don't know quite what happened, but it was like Brandon just seemed to jink right, and nothing I could do.
Yeah, we did see that in the background. Yeah, he just I don't know if it was a lag moment or whatever.
I'll check it out. It happens. I I went off very close to the end, but quite badly.
Awesome.
Almost caught up, but.
You weren't the only one. Sam had a few moments of his own. We were watching the gap between you.
Yeah. What happened at the end, Sam? I caught you up so much.
I had 3.9 liters to do 2 laps at the end, so and I made a few mistakes as well.
Yeah, we did an extra lap because I had an extra fuel. I didn't have enough for another lap.
I didn't expect 35 laps. Like speed was too fast.
That would have been a harsh end to run out of fuel.
Oh.
Don't worry, I wouldn't have overtaken you. I would have pushed you to the finishing line, I promise.
Yeah, you were our driver of the race, Rodders. That was fantastic, mate. All the way up and down like a yo-yo. We've renamed you RWB Yo. That's brilliant. Very good.
Oh, cheers.
So
I almost messed it up at the end, but yeah, apart from that, it was a good run after that.
So, Rodders, did you push quite hard on those tyres and perhaps wear them out a little bit, because you did seem to lose a little bit of ground to at one point?
Well, I pitted early, and I was pushing hard. I noticed that Sam had made a mistake and he lost half his time to me, and I was hoping that maybe he might make another. And to be honest, if I hadn't went off, I would have beaten Sam after what happened at the end. So that was a cracking race. Loved it. I think it was a deserved 1, 2, 3. I wouldn't have deserved second, but I would have taken it, I guess.
Yeah, because we'd noticed that Audi, I think, pitted at the same time as you, and towards the end of the race, he lost a few positions. So we were wondering if perhaps tyres was a factor.
Yes, I mean, I was losing over a second a lap at the end with the tyres.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, we could see that. You pitted as soon as you could, right? So fairly.
Well, I pitted because I couldn't get past Brandon. I thought I need to get past him because Dave was pulling away. I had a bit of pace on Dave, and I'm not actually sure how I gained that much time, but after the pit stop, I was in front of them. So
Brandon had an incident in the last corner. Well, the last hairpin, can't quite be the last corner. We're not quite sure what happened.
he had a bad race, man.
Yeah, got a few cuts, and I think he had speeding in the pit lane as well, which seems to be a habit.
Ooh, do you know, I practiced that pit lane about 8 times because it was really important to get it right.
Yeah, we did. I think I did highlight there. It's quite an awkward entry.
Yeah, you hit the brakes, I found, just at the right hand kind of coloured barrier, sort of crash barrier. As soon as you hit the brakes just after that, and you stop just in time. So it's a treat.
Well,
cool.
if
I didn't even know the race was being commentated. It's a nice one, guys.
Yeah, if Speed's finished his loser tier and his sandwich, perhaps we could get a word from him. Good race, Speed.
Yeah, it was a good one. A bit hectic at the start when it was 3 wide into turn one. I think it was a bit of lag between me and Brandon.
Is it true, Speed, that you ate your tea? You ate your tea as you were going round. Is that?
No, I'm eating it now.
There was a rumour he was eating his tea during quali, but
he was eating his tea and drinking a pint on the way around. Fantastic racing there, Speed. We were really we noticed in the first 10, 15 laps that you'd extended yourself away about 3.5 seconds, and I think at the time, correct me if I'm wrong, Rog, but it was C Sam and Rodders were right up there, right?
Yeah, C Sam had pretty much pegged the gap for the first 20 minutes or so of the race, but after that, I don't know whether Speed found another gear or whether C Sam made a mistake, but it just seemed to.
I struggled a lot with the tire wear.
Yeah, it was very clear. Once you had that clear track, you launched away, and
I'm amazed the Bentley was so quick in that track. It's not a track I would have put down for the Bentley, but there we go.
I think C Sam drives that Bentley really quick.
The Bentley is one of the best car in the corner, so I think it's a good track for this.
I drove it once and hated it.
I don't do yourself short. I think you whatever you get your hands on the wheel to, you drive.
Yeah, agreed. Very, very good.
Thanks.
I don't know if you get caught. I think I did 2 accidental dive bombs, one in FX and one in Hayden. But it was that first corner, just the way I went into it. Folk were taking it really wide.
Did you have a sorry, Rodders? Did you have a we were watching with intent the follow battle with Hayden, and I said at one point that I felt that although Hayden was very quick, I felt that it was clear that you had a faster pace, and that actually he was almost holding you up very tactfully. He was very tactically. He was doing some good defensive driving, but I felt that once you got past him, you would extend away, and sure enough, you did.
Yeah, that's why I pitted, because I was definitely losing a bit of time. I knew I could catch Dave up, and I could gain on him, but I was losing. I lost about 4 seconds to Dave, stuck behind Hayden. A good racing with him. He defended excellent. It was nice and fair. It's always hard with the boys from New Zealand. They're from New Zealand, Brandon and Hayden. And I think it's a miracle that they can race when you think about it, but you do get wee lag spots with them. So it's a wee bit hair-raising driving near them sometimes.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, excellent racing, gents. Very well done. An inspiration to everybody. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yep. On that note, thanks for joining us this evening. Come along next week and join us for Spa, which should be very interesting. Perhaps the Porsches will do a little better.
Yeah. He's been Rigel. I've been Tiger. Take care. Till next time.